minute and I'll start.
Sure.
So I'm starting then. Is it fine? Ravinder, Manvendra?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, please.
Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to the webinar on advertising industry, past, present, and future, organized by the IQAC of Atmaram Sanatan Dharma College. On behalf of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of the college, I welcome the speaker of the webinar, Mr. Pramod Negi, Ads Specialist at Indeed USA. We are really honored that you took out your valuable time for us. Now I invite the principal of the college, Dr. Gyantosh Kumar Jha, who has always been a guiding force and motivating force, to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Pramod Negi.
Thank you, Vinita. Good morning to all. On behalf of ARST College, Mr. Pramod Negi, today's guest speaker, and all the participants. I am grateful to you, Mr. Negi, that you have given us your valuable time for delivering this lecture in our webinar. And I hope that your insightful and informative lecture will be very fruitful and beneficial for all of us. I think many people will watch on Facebook also this program, and it's time to revisit on this topic, advertisement, past, present, and future, because this industry gives lots of job to the youth. And now, after the COVID-19, there are
Call by device audio dial-in.
which youths are going to face, that there will be few jobs and more will be for job seekers. So I once again I welcome you and I congratulate my webinar team, its convener Dr. Vinita Tuli, Mr. Manvendra Yadav, Mr. Ravinder Pant, for arranging this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Negi, an alumnus of Delhi University, has 14 years of IT industry experience in big product companies like Facebook, Microsoft, Adobe, and mid-sized companies like Indeed and startups like Bloomreach and Hughes Sysdig. His expertise is in providing new ad business products and algorithms. He is settled in USA for many years, but he is continuously providing his guidance, mentoring, and support to students in India. I welcome you again, sir, and invite you to speak on the topic advertising industry, past, present, and future.
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Gyantosh sir, to give me this platform, and Vinita ma'am to provide me this opportunity to share the learning and the knowledge that I have gained through my experience in this industry. I'm also very thankful to Jagmohan and Manvendra to help facilitating coming me to this webinar. And I hope this lecture or my knowledge sharing will help you, and probably it'll make you more curious about the topic, and hopefully you will come into this industry after you graduate or post-graduate. So let me start with this. Let me give a small introduction about myself. My name is Pramod. Basically I belong to Delhi. I did my graduation from Kyodimal College. I did my maths honors from there, and did my master's in computer science from the University of Delhi itself. And after that, I started my journey. I joined a very small company and then moved to Microsoft, and then joined Adobe, went to Bloomreach, traveled to US, and then joined Facebook, and now part of Indeed. So there are like lots of ups and downs, and that I have seen. And then past couple of years, I started working in advertisement. So started like understanding the nitty and gritty of advertisement. So I'm just sharing like whatever my learning is, and probably in the middle or at the end of the session, you can ask some question if you have time, or otherwise you can route it through these questions from your ma'am or other teacher, so I can help them answer offline as well. Yeah. So let's start. Like, what is the advertisement? So probably like every one of us, we know what is advertisement. Every day we are facing it. Every day we are seeing it. Either we are noticing or not noticing. So generally, like when we say advertisement, it is some sort of tactics that give user to see some ad, some promotion about product and services on some platform. This space can be anything. And when the intention of showing these messages or the ads that we call is either you can buy the product, you can use the service, or possibly you can like play a part in some sort of cause. Like these days you are seeing some advertisement like donate food. So that is also some companies showing your advertisement that you can participate in cause. There you're not buying their service, there you're not buying their product, but you are participating in a cause. So what they do, what this advertisement, the entire idea is to give a promotional message, a sensitive and correct message to audience, so that they can get engaged with the ad and then do whatever the ads want them to do. So that is what like the goal of the advertisement. It captures the right set of audience. And when we say audience, it is mostly people. Sometimes it is business when we talk about like business to business, but mostly it is people, human being. And then they are like willing to pay and buy the services of the company and product. So when we say audience, so audience can be anything. For example, I am running an ad. Suppose I'm in a shoe industry. I want to run an ad where I want to sell my running shoes to set of people. So when I say I want to sell the shoes to set of people, I don't want to show my ad to each and everybody. I'll say probably this is a running shoe, so it will be fit for people age 20 to 40. Probably they are earning income, they don't have any liabilities. So this is my right set of audience. On the other hand, if say I want people to donate money in some cause, I won't like target people who are not earning money. So my target audience will become 30 to 50. So that will become my audience. So the goal of the advertisement is choose the right set of audience, capture them, show them the message, and then people can get engaged and buy certain products. Now, where do we advertise? So generally, we can advertise anywhere. We can advertise on roadside billboards you have seen. We can advertise on radio. Probably you have heard a lot of ads. You can advertise on Facebook. You're browsing Facebook, you see a lot of ads. Instagram, TV. You can advertise on Twitter, newspaper, website, apps, anywhere. And the sole motive of advertisement from the perspective of advertiser is I am able to deliver my message to people, and they can see the message, get engaged, feel connected, and then buy the stuff. Now, because mostly we are like into computer science, most of you, and also want to learn more about like how the computer science is getting engaged or getting involved with the advertisement. So we'll generally revolve around online advertisement in this talk. But if you want to like discuss about offline advertisement, we can talk it later or like in some other time. So what is online advertisement? It is like form of marketing where the advertiser uses internet to deliver the message. So when you see some ad on Facebook or Instagram or Google or Twitter or like any app that you are browsing, that is all part of advertisement, online advertisement. So generally people divide online ads into two parts. One is search ad, one is display ad. I mean, just don't go by the name of search and display, because with the time, these two topics are like kind of submerged or merged together. But when we say search ad, so there we are showing an ad, or advertiser is showing an ad when you are searching something. For example, you are going on Google and you're searching insurance or red shirt. So Google as a platform, they understand your query. Query is like the keyword that you're typing, for example, in this case, insurance, and then try to capture this query and try to see which ads is available into their repository and then show it to you. So there they are finding the advertiser, the Google or the party which is showing the ad. They are trying to find the meaning, the semantic of the query that you are trying to find out, and then show the relevant ad. While display ads, you generally don't search anything. For example, when you are on Google or Twitter, you generally browse through. You just scroll down, scroll up, or on Twitter, you just see new tweets. You don't actually searching something. So what these platforms are doing, they are capturing your interest. They are saying, okay, possibly this person is following X people, he's following, say, cricket and then hockey or sports. So probably he's into sports. So why don't show some sports ad or like shoe ads or some sports jersey ads? For example, you want to like buy new subscription of Netflix and say some other news channel. They try to capture, okay, fine, he has bought a subscription of Netflix, probably he's interested in Disney. So there you're not searching something. The platform itself is trying to find out or trying to learn about your habits and then showing the ads from your behavior. So that is display ad. And in general, you say display ad is an ad where you're seeing some sort of video, some image, some sort of smart clips. So that is like displayed, but generally with the time, this changed because now you are seeing, you search something on Google, say insurance or ads, then you should start seeing some display ads there as well. So with the time, these two types of online ads get submerged, but generally when it was started, it was like search ad and display ads. So now what are all the parties involved in the advertisement? So generally there are three parties: advertiser, publisher, and audience. So advertiser is the one who's like who wants to show the ads. For example, Nike, Adidas, they want to show an ad. What is audience? Audience are user like us. We are browsing something, we are searching something, we are going somewhere, and we are the one who is searching the ads. And publisher is the platform which is like working between these two parties and providing them the right set of ad. So the role of advertiser in this case, they say, okay, I want to create some sort of campaign. So when we say campaign, like this is a very heavily used word in every part of advertisement. So campaign is, suppose you are saying, okay, this is probably Diwali is coming, I want to run some campaign to sell new dresses. Some advertiser is saying, so he'll say, let's start the campaign to sell new dresses. And then you say, okay, I want to run the campaign. What should be the style and ad? What should be the kind of ad and the style of the campaign? So when we say ad and style, so style is very important. For example, you want to show an ad of shoes. So you have probably two, three ways to show it. Either you show a static image of a shoes with probably a brand ambassador selling the shoes. The second type of style is you show a game, a video of say 10-15 seconds where someone is playing and then you keep on showing the shoes again and again. And third is probably like you show multiple shoes and then he can click through or like scroll through the shoes. And then he can say, okay, this is the best shoe that I have. So there are different style, and it depends which type of audience that you are showing this ad to, this style to, and they'll get more engaged. For example, like kid with 20 to 30, if you show them an ad, he'll be more interested than showing a still image. Sometimes they use keywords, especially in Google word. When you search something, say you start searching shoes, there are so many search that is going on in Google, but advertiser will say, okay, probably when people are searching a query which has shoes and sports and Sachin and Kohli, then show my ads. So they choose the keywords. Then the audience. Audience is the most important part, most delicate part, and most controversial part. Audiences, they'll say, okay, I want to show my ad to people who are between 20 to 30, living in say South Delhi and studying, probably they're undergraduate and some other probably religion or something. So that's where it becomes tricky, because now you are trying to get some information about the privacy of the people and then start showing the ads. So, but yeah, from the advertiser perspective, they want to show the ads to right set of people. Second is price and bidding. The second last is price and bidding. So price and bidding is okay. I'm an advertiser. I want to show my ad. I want, my main objective is people see my ad, they buy the stuff. But I don't have like infinite amount of money in my bank account. Otherwise, I'll say show my ad throughout the day, 24/7, 365 days. So I'll say that that cannot happen. So what is the price that I want to pay for the ad that is being shown? And then what is my budget? Suppose I have $300 or 5,000 rupees. So that is my budget. And probably I can say every impression or every ad that is being shown, I will pay 1 rupees or 50 paisa or whatever. And then duration. Duration is also important because you say I am running a sale, Diwali sale. So you want it to run before Diwali, say 10-15 days before Diwali, and it should end after a day or two after Diwali. So duration is also important. You don't want to run the sale probably during like summer because people want to buy new clothes. Then what is publisher? Publisher in this case is Google, Facebook, Twitter, or the platform. What they provide? They provide the platform. Platform is like the most important, most heavily used, and that is the piece where everybody wants to work. Like when you graduate and you want to work, you want to go to publisher. You are not an advertiser. I mean, if you're an advertiser, you're probably doing a business. If you're an advertiser, you are doing a business. If you're a publisher, you want to provide this platform. Okay, come to our platform, run these ads. And then when you say you are running this ad, obviously you'll say, I'll charge the money. So what is my billing criteria? And then you will say, okay, you are advertiser, you are creating an ad. Now it's my responsibility to find the audience for you. So that is the responsibility of publisher. And at the end, I'll share the reporting based on, okay, how many ads that you have, how many ads has been shown, what all people that have seen the ad, if they have clicked on this ad or whatever they have done. And they run like a bunch of algorithm to do these jobs. And at the end, the audience, like what is our responsibility? Our responsibility is like nothing, but we are the strongest point in this entire ecosystem because we are the one who consumes ad. If any ad, if you don't like and we just skipping it through, actually we are wasting the money of advertiser. And at the end, we are like creating a bad experience for platform as well. So just by scrolling it through or not clicking on it or not taking any action, that we create like a negative impact and positive impact if we are doing some engagement. And what we do, we generate activity, and this generation of activities, what we call data in this ad industry or any industry. So when we say generate activity, probably you are seeing an ad, you are clicking something, you are checking in, you are like going somewhere, you are giving platform your likes and dislikes. So that is the thing that you are doing. You are generating activity. And at the end, probably if you like that, you click on the ad, go to the site, purchase the product or use their service or like do some cause. What is generally a life cycle of an ad? Like from the ad perspective, ad is how it is created. So what happens, like for example, me, I go to website and I say, suppose I go to Google, and let me show you some examples. Suppose I go to Google and say, I want to, Mother Day is coming. Let's say, when is Mother Day? I search something. So I went there, I searched something, and then what it is showing some sort of ads to me. This is not ads. Probably I have blocked the ads. Yeah, but it will show I have ad blocker. See. Like insurance. So I visited a page, I searched something, and then started showing me ad. Okay, Geico has an insurance, Progressive has a car insurance, and another thing. So say Mother Day, if Mother Day has some ads, and then they'll say, okay, Mother Day don't have ad. Probably they want to show the ads on Mother Day. So this is what I'm doing. I am going to a website, any website, it is Google, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever, or any app, and I search something, browse something. By that way, what I'm doing, I'm trying to create some information and passing it back to the company or the platform which is hosting that web page. Now, this web page will say, okay, Pramod has come to my website. He searched for insurance. Now let me return the result of insurance, probably like all the company which is providing the insurance. But along with that, I'll insert some ad between these results. So for example, if I go to Twitter, so in this time, Twitter has gained my information, run the algorithm on their page, show me something, and then this information probably have some certain ads. Very slow, but anyway, this will how you are showing the ads to me. So probably it will show some ads, and with this information that we are providing, this platform will capture this information and store it. That is like again a controversial point, that they are storing my information and then probably they are like using it to show the ad, or in other term they are selling the information to advertisers so that they can target me with their ad. And meanwhile, what the algorithm that Twitter or Facebook or Google is trying to use, they are saying, okay, now I have like some certain ads, which ad I show it to promote based on this query or their interest. So they run bunch of algorithm, very fast algorithm, very fast, and then they give it back to me. And this happens like very fast, probably like 100 millisecond, 200 millisecond. If it is not happening before that, either the ad will not be shown, or the page load will take a longer time, which is a bad user experience. And the moment I see a bad user experience, I will not go to that platform, and that platform will lose money. Then like just talk about like few elements in the ads ecosystem. For example, creatives, like we talked about. So what are creatives? Creatives are like different way of showing an ad. Like I have like 3 creatives. For example, this creative, this is a still image. Probably it is saying me like we are living here. So it is saying me a still image of why don't you like buy a subscription of Selling TV, and then you will see some Mahabharata or whatever. Or this ad, this is a video ad. I cannot show it here, but this is a video ad. So they are showing someone is like cooking homemade food, and then showing how the homemade food will look like, and then asking me to see the menu so that I can like see the menu and then get engaged and then probably purchase something. And this is a Slack ad. This is a carousel, like some sort of like, it has multiple image, one image. And then if you see this button, I can scroll it through. So I can see multiple images. And if I like those images, get engaged, probably I click on it. Or you have like text ad, like I see men's shirt, and then Google starts showing in men's shirt. And you see this sponsored. So this is like a very important thing that is added probably by Google itself. So there you can see the result that I am showing. I am seeing, is it a real result? Is it the result that I am seeing because of my query, or it is a sponsored ad? And this is very important. And almost every company which show an ad, if you see somewhere, they'll show sponsored or promoted or a small keyword. And that is, it is not a force, but they show just to ensure that they are showing the ad. It is not a general story. And this is another ad where you are seeing big basket and there are multiple items, probably some nuts, some fruits, different company, one ad which has like all the company ad within it. Okay. Then like after creative, we have like pricing model, different pricing model. So what are the pricing model? So pricing models are the algorithm which advertiser and publisher like Nike and Facebook, they sort of agree upon that how you will charge me when you show the ad. So one simple pricing model that was shown, that was being used like probably a few years ago, which is CPM. CPM is like cost per mile, cost per thousand, and it is like impression based. For example, you are seeing an ad and Facebook will say, okay, I have shown your ad to one person, I want to charge you. So this model is called CPM, which is like how much dollar amount or rupee amount I will charge based on 1,000 impression. So for example, an ad, say Nike ad, it was shown 1,000 times to one person or to 10% or to 1,000%, multiple times or so, I'll charge you say $2. So in this case, if the CPM rate is 2 rupees and that ad was shown 5,000 times, So it means the amount that will be charged is $10. It's like 1,000, like 2 rupees per 1,000 ad. And because we have 5,000, so it is 5 into 2. So 10 rupees, Facebook will ask, okay, Nike, you should pay me 10 rupees because I have shown you 1,000 ads. The engagement here is like, I'm just seeing the ad. I'm not taking any action. So that's why it is very cheap ads. You just scroll it through, you see an ad and then you scroll it through. Probably you have not taken an action. You are seeing less engaged. How and where this ad is used? It is used in like brand creation, where like big brand company, they have enough money, they show you some ads multiple times. For example, like Sachin Tendulkar with the shoes, buy these shoes, buy these shoes, buy these shoes, buy these shoes. And probably you're not clicking on it and purchasing it, but you are seeing it again, 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 again. So it is creating image in your mind. For example, for whenever you are going to a shop or like e-commerce site and you want to purchase some shoes, you have this brand. Okay, probably Sachin was saying buy Nike, let's buy Nike. This is cheap. That's why they have to show multiple times. The other one is cost per click. So cost per click is more engaging, where I am seeing an ad, and after seeing an ad, actually I am taking an action, which is like clicking on it. So when I'm clicking on it, the intention is I am more interested in it rather than like just browsing it through. So that's why it's a bit costly. And if you clicked on ad, that means you have like crossed one hurdle. You have now reached to a stage where you are actually seeing some engagement on your ad. Charges are same. For example, they say cost per click is 50 paisa. And if your ad was clicked 1,000 times, even if it is shown 1 million times, but if only 1,000 times it is clicked, I'll charge you 0.5 INR. So which is 0.5 into 1,000. I'll charge you 500 rupees. This is correct. Yeah, 500 rupees. And then last is CPA, cost per action. So cost per action is when you are seeing an ad and actually taking an action. So when you say actually taking an action, for example, you saw an ad of an app, for example, some game app, and then you are clicking on the button, going to App Store and then downloading the app. Or you saw a product, say shoes, you clicked on that shoes, went to Amazon.com or Flipkart.com and actually purchased that shoes. Or you saw a sign up, okay, like sign up for new classes. You went to the button, fill up your form, probably given your card information, and then purchase that product. So that is the action. And this is the last step that actually advertisers want. They want to sell their shoes or like download their app. So that's why it is very, very costly. So probably like if, for example, if the CPA rate is $5 and then 200 people are purchasing, 200 times it is purchased, even like single person is purchasing 200 times. So it is 500 to 200, 1,000 rupees, the advertiser will be charged. The other element is auction. So auction is like very, it is important, but it is not rudimentary that we have heard of in like entire life. Probably it is like very new to me when I heard first time. So there are multiple auction scheme. Like simple is like first price auction. So it's like I am saying there are 3 advertisers in this case, and everyone is saying, okay, for this ad, probably advertiser A is saying I'll pay $2, advertiser B is saying I pay $3, and advertiser C will say I'll pay $4. So when the ad was shown to an user, we'll go to the each and every ad, see which has the highest price, and he will win. So in this case, if C wins, C has to pay $4 because he is bidding $4 on it. But this is not how the industry works, or it used to work like way before when Yahoo was like showing their ads, or I don't know if you know Alta Vista, or there are so many sites. When they are showing their ad, you click on it and then they pay whatever they are like bidding on. But then the model is changed from first price to second price. And this is where this is like predominantly using it in each and every industry, until unless they are like very sophisticated algorithm, which I have never seen anywhere. Like I've worked for multiple companies in that industry. I've never seen like any other sophisticated algorithm being used. They know the algorithm, but it is very hard to implement. So what is second price auction? Second price auction is like A, B, and C. All these 3 are bidding, and eventually C won the bid. But we'll see, okay, who was the second? So in this case, the B was the second. So we'll say, okay, C, you will pay the amount that B was bidding on. So C will not pay $4. He will pay $3 or probably a little over $3. So in this case, $3.01. So this is the model that is being like almost everywhere. And there are multiple questions that arises here, like why we are using second price auction. There are multiple theories, but the biggest theory, or like the way we want to do it, is this enforces people to bid the true value of their product. For example, I have a pen that I want to sell. I want to sell and show the ad. And suppose the price of pen is say 10 rupees. So the ad that I want to show, it should not cross the cost of my pen. So it should be less than $10, 10 rupees. Why? Because suppose if I am spending 11 rupees on my ad and my pen is being sold after seeing the ad, it means I'm losing $1. So that is not the way we want to do. I want to bid on the true value of my pen, which is $10. And obviously I don't want to bid on $10. What if I win and sell the pen, but at the end I am not earning any profit? So probably I'll bid a little less, which is $9 or $9.5 based on whatever amount that I want to pay for this pen. Similarly, the other people, they'll bid on their bid, whatever their true value. And even if I'm losing the bet, it's fine. I lost the bet. I didn't show, my ad was not shown. I was not charged. But if I win the ad, I have a chance to make some margin, make some profit on the margin. So this is a very important topic. Like if you want to discuss more, probably I can send you some link or discuss offline. But this is the most important algorithm that is being used in the ad industry. The other is relevance. So relevance is like, I want to see an ad. People want to show me an ad, but show me an ad which is like totally relevant to me. Like this is an ad that Facebook has shown probably like years ago. So I want to highlight why it is not relevant. So this is a person, David or whatever. So in his profile, he's saying he's married to someone and this is what his age is. And then what ad is showing him? Ad is showing him, okay, this is a dating app that you should install, which is totally irrelevant. He's a married person. Why you are showing him an irrelevant ad? So this is like at least two things that I am seeing bad with it. First, this person will be like super annoyed. It is bad user experience. Why they are showing me this ad? And from advertiser perspective, okay, my ad was shown. Facebook, you are asking me, you're charging me money because my ad was shown, but my ad was shown to a person who is not even interested, and this ad was not meant to him. So there are like multiple, or at least two things that I can see wrong thing, but there are other bad thing that is happening. Probably this person will never come to Facebook. It will probably delete his Facebook account or probably mark this ad bad. He'll never see the ad, and because of he's marking this ad bad, probably telling it to other people, they'll also feel the same about Facebook or this ad, and then they'll not probably install this app. The other is ranking. Ranking is when at the end, when I want to show the ad to a user, there are multiple ads. Suppose in this case, insurance, I have Progressive Insurance, Geico, Best Car, Savon, like whatever, Nabil Car. And now how do I order these things? Should I show Progressive first? Should I show Geico first, or like which one I show first and second and third? That is like ranking. So probably I want to, people bid on the like real estate and then space. So Progressive will bid higher to get this space. But it doesn't mean because they are paying higher, they'll be posted on the first location. Sometimes either people click on first link or they click on second link. So based on the clickability of the ad and the clickability of the user, the ad will be ranked. So that is also like a very important thing. So, and together relevance and ranking, they together called RNR, ranking and relevance, or relevance and ranking. This is the place where people heavily invest a lot of money, both advertiser and the company. And this is the place where we need a lot of engineers who know more about ranking. They want to learn about ranking. They know the algorithm, they can implement them, and then obviously earn money for the company. And then the audience. So audience is where we as a user comes in. So audience is generally divided into two parts, like retargeting and prospecting. So what is retargeting audience and what is prospecting audience? Retargeting audience, probably you have faced multiple times. You go to a site, say Amazon, Flipkart, any other site, like browse something, see shoes or shirt or whatever, and then you go to facebook.com or other site, and you immediately see the same ad there. So that is like somebody's like keeping an eye on you, like tracking your every movement, and the shoes that you were like browsing on Flipkart, the same shoes are being shown on Facebook.com. So that is what is called retargeting, where like everything in this entire space is kind of connected. Whatever you are doing, it will be sent back to Facebook, and Facebook know you are, or like whatever advertisement platform, they know what you are doing. And second is prospecting. We'll talk about it. So like retargeting, what people say, if you are browsing some shoes or you are doing any activity on online, some study says, this is not like from very verified source, but they say most of the time you just see a shoes or see some product and just drop off or bounce. This is the language that you use, and you never go to that site and purchase the shoes. What they are trying to build, they are trying to make a system where they are forcing you somehow to go back to that site, but whatever shoe that you have seen, click on it again and then purchase it. So that is what the retargeting model, this is what the retargeting is. And like you have potential customer, you visit to a site, whatever site, www.amazon.com, you browse few product, but you left without checking out, without purchasing it. Later you are like browsing web, you are browsing Facebook, Twitter, Google, or some other sites, and then you start seeing the same shoes, and then probably it'll try to like enforce you by showing good graphics, good creatives, that click on this link. You click on this link, you again went back to their website, again you probably add to cart or purchase it and leave. If you're not doing it, they keep on doing it, they keep on trying it until they have their algorithm learns probably you're not interested at all, or you purchase the shoes. Like I have like a small video that I was trying, and what it is doing, let me play and see what it is doing. It is like a website Zara where people go and buy some stuff, and then I try to go there. I see on my website, like probably I search something and see what is the information that Zara is using and sending it back to whom. So I just went to Zara and then I searched something. Probably I searched shirts. I say, okay, let me clear my, by the way, this is the tool. If you don't know, you can, any browser, Google Chrome, Edge, Microsoft Internet Explorer, whatever, Safari, whatever you're using, you can use this tool, which is like Network Inspector, where you can see all the traffic that is going out from the browser that you are doing, that you are browsing. So I say, okay, let's search men's shirt. And then you say, okay, it will sending these many calls. You see, these are all the calls that this browser is making to different parties. And when I search men's shirt on Zara, and then I say, okay, fine, these are the shirt. Let's see, did it send anything to Google? And I search Google and say, oh, there are 2 links. Let's see what are these 2 links. And I say, okay, fine, this is Google. And so they are sending Google Analytics, something on Zara, whatever I am doing, they are sending it to Google Analytics. Okay, fine, they are sending it to Google. Okay, fine. Is it sending it to Facebook? Let's see. And then, okay, they are sending it to Facebook as well. So they are sending some data to Facebook as well. However, I am not connected to them as right now. I am on Zara itself. And then, okay, fine. They are sending some certain information. Probably let's see what is the information that they are sending. So if you see, they are sending search term men shirt. The search that I have, the keyword that I have searched, they send this information to Facebook along with other parameters. So these parameters, for example, this is timestamp, right? At what time I have searched this query, probably my, not user ID, but there's some information about my laptop and some other like browser, probably my Chrome browser. I'm using Chrome browser. And similarly, Google, they have sent other information. Let's see Google, what they have sent. So Google, they again sent some men's shirt, the query that I'm searching, along with other parameter, which is like my user information and other information. So if you see, the moment I am searching anything on let me see. So the moment I am searching anything on any site, the information are being shared with like everywhere. Google, Facebook probably would, if I would have searched for Twitter, they are sending my information to everywhere, every place. So this is what people are like more scared about, like your activity is being monitored. whatever you are doing. It's like a Zara ad, but you do anything on Google, anything on any web browser, this information might be sending, your information is might be shared with different parties in the world. So this is how they retarget. Now, like after searching this, Google knows that this user ID or probably from this laptop, somebody searched about men's shirt. Suppose now I am opening google.com from same laptop. Google knows like this laptop searching for men's shirt. Let's show him an ad, or to this laptop, a men's shirt ad. Similarly, Facebook knows this laptop was seeing a men's shirt. So in your ad, just push men's shirt. And then Zara will pay Facebook. Okay, some user are coming to my website, they're searching for men's shirt. I told you about them. Now I am paying you certain money, certain dollars, and show the same shirt to them. The other part is prospecting. One is like retargeting, where the user, they are still in the system. They are like browsing through somewhere, and now Facebook or other ad platform, they are showing you the same ads. Other is prospecting. So prospecting is like finding new users. For example, I am a person, I never purchase a flight ticket to Singapore, and Singapore Airlines want to sell me this ticket. So because I had never browsed through Singapore Airlines or any other airlines, so how will they capture me? They have captured certain other user which are browsing them, so they are retargeting him. But how do they capture like new people? So they run some campaign which is called prospecting campaigns. It can be offline and online, and their examples are like discounts offer. So suppose you have seen, you go to a big bazaar or somewhere, they'll say, okay, there's a new discount thing that is coming in, and you have what you need to do, you just need to like fill your name, email ID and phone number, and probably you'll get 2%, 3% discount. So what they are doing, they are like capturing your interest, your information, email ID, phone, probably like some other information, and they'll upload this data to Facebook or other party which is like creating the audience. And that's how they get to know, okay, fine, this person is doing something. For example, if people have like Big Bazaar card or some other card, or Macy card or some other Apparel store card, you go there, they'll say we'll give you 2% discount if you have card. You swipe the card. The moment you swipe the card, they know this person has purchased something offline. Now, whenever this person is going online, try to match the identity and start showing some ad. And the other people is like hobbies. For example, Facebook people go and say, okay, I like swimming, I like hiking, I like probably music, and you are like just filling up your interest. But what these algorithms are doing, they are finding your interest, your algorithm, and then trying to match your algorithm, trying to match you with the same advertiser of same interest. There is like online activities. For example, I am going to a cricket match. I am checking in, okay, on Firozshah Kotla watching cricket. Probably I went to Wankhede watching cricket. I went to like some other place watching football. And I'm checking in, I'm giving this information. This is like deliberately I'm feeding the information to the system. Now system is doing, they are capturing, okay, this person went to 3 different sport places. So probably this person is like interested in sports. However, I've never been to Nike.com or Adidas.com to buy shoes. But because this person is interested, like start showing him Nike ad or Adidas ads. So probably it will create some interest and then they'll buy it. So this is prospecting, like generating new audience, creating new leads. And then this is the concept of funnel. This is like a more or less like a sales funnel used in economics or like probably in commerce. But almost every industry which deals with money, where they want to sell something, they have certain sort of funnel. So funnel is like I have seen there are multiple users. They are like going here and there. Probably they are not coming to your site, or they are not coming to your store. So what is your main aim? Your aim is like push these people down to the funnel. So first, these people, they never came to your website. Somehow, either by prospecting, giving them something, discount coupon, somehow land them to your website. So now suppose out of these 1,000 people came to your website and they like start clicking on it. The moment they start clicking on it, on something, and then coming to your website, browsing some product, now they have your information, your interest, they'll start showing some ad and they'll push you through. So first you will search something, red shirt, and then probably you drop off. They'll show you an ad, okay, you have searched shoes, at least see some products. So you will see some product. Okay, fine. You'll move to the funnel and then you start seeing some product and then probably left off. After a few days, they'll show you an ad. Okay, probably you have seen this shoes. Why don't you like, we are giving you 10% discount, 2% discount or whatever. Why don't you like just buy this product? You go to the site, you are saying, okay, 5% discount. Let's add this product to the cart. And the moment you add it to cart, you say, okay, they are charging like $100, 100 rupees shipping fees, but I don't want to pay 100 rupees. So you left off. So what they'll do, okay, fine. They'll show you another ads. Like, okay, probably you have added some product to the cart. You are not buying it. We are like waiving off your shipping fees, or probably if you buy 2 product, we'll waive off some shipping fees, or like some 2% discount next time you are purchase. So they'll again bring you back to their website and then you make you purchase certain item. So everything which is out of this funnel, it is prospecting. Like they are new user, they are not in the system, pushing them through the funnel. And once you are into the funnel, and then you are retargeted multiple times. And just connecting the dots that whatever I'm seeing, these are advertiser. They are creating the ads, they are choosing the audience, they are choosing the bids, they are submitting the ad. The publisher, which is like Facebook, Google, or Twitter, they are running the algorithm, matching user with the correct algorithm, correct ad, billing them, reporting them, managing users somehow, like not disclose the information or leak out the information, and maintaining the entire infra. And then audience is like they are like publisher is serving the ad to them, and in turn audience is user is generating activity, either like browsing, clicking, or purchasing certain stuff. Now, like this is all theory. I am a computer science student. I work for an industry, and then why I am working for this industry, that is the most important part that I see when I'm working into like either some company or another company, what I'm trying to solve and what I'm trying to create. So the problem space which is given to us is, okay, show, and like it's a very simple statement. Like show, this is a user, show him one ad. Okay, this is a simple statement. Probably someone will come with me, or probably like bunch of people, and let's show him the ad. Okay, fine. This statement looks very simple. I'll just pick this person and show the ad. But it is so simple because I have multiple companies from which I have to choose an ad from. So they are like, I have like chosen this site. We have like hundreds of companies. So my problem is, show this person an ad from these thousands of companies. Okay, fine. Probably this is still not a big problem. I'll write some algorithm, probably make a team, and choose a ad and show it to this person. But this is not the only thing. You have to take one more dimension, that okay, this user had certain interest. He like football, he like music, he's into fishing, cycling, and all. Okay, so this person has certain interest. Using those interest, having these companies who want to spend the money, create some sort of infrastructure and algorithm and show the ad to this person. Okay, probably I need a bigger team. I need like bigger, I need different set of challenges, different set of like skill set. But probably if I have like 100 people team, I can do it. But then they'll say, okay, fine. This person is generating certain activities as well. For example, he's going somewhere, he's checking in, he's listening to music, probably hiking, browsing some content. Use these parameters and show the ad. Okay, fine. One person, I have to show the ads. I can do it, but probably bigger team, or probably like small org. And then we'll say, okay, fine. The problem is this is not the one person. You have to do it to billions of people. Like in case of Facebook has 2.5 billion users. And do this thing for 2.5 billion people. And they are like thousands of companies, thousands of interests, thousands of likes and dislikes, and show the ad. And these people are sitting around the globe. So now the problem becomes very, very tricky. But you have to do everything in just 100 milliseconds. So do everything in 100 milliseconds. So that's the place where like the system becomes more and more complex, and you have to do everything within like split second. So that is the problem space that we deal with. And that's where you need an entire ad company. For example, Google is earning now not, but like Google was earning almost 80% revenue from ads. So the ad division is so big, probably like thousands of engineers. Facebook is earning 95% everything coming from ad. And the ad team that I was in, my team was like 100 people, and then entire ad was like 10,000 people. And they're constantly churning out code, writing some algorithm, ensuring that you are serving best ads, best possible bid in like 100 millisecond. And what are the building blocks? Now, question to you. Like you are saying, okay, we are computer science student, probably undergraduate, graduate, teacher, or like prof. And what I am doing, like I'm studying something. Is it like really helpful for me to study all these courses that I am doing? And can I like, will I be able to fit these courses that I am reading, or probably I have read, into this industry? You can take help from your senior, junior, teachers, professor. So like entire ad ecosystem, like I have few important domain or area, but they are like multiple. For example, algorithms, you have to like study algorithm you should be very good, or at least not good. You should know like how to solve some critical problems. And certain algorithm is like, I pose a question, like I have 3 people and I have 10 ads, and these 10 ads, like probably everyone wants to spend like $2 or 2 rupees every impression, but they want to see an ad either 9 to 5 in their time zone. Probably one ad is in India, America, or say Mexico. So now write some sort of logic so that everything fit into the requirement of your ads. So that's where you need to learn about algorithm. Probably many of you are reading about it. Data structures, it is right, another like basic building block. Like how do you store the data? Now you have like millions of users. Probably when you are like working on one system, you will see this system is enough. But when you have 2.5 billion users, you want to store this data on like multiple system. How do you want to access this data? So that's where you want to learn about data structure, and you should read about it. The other is mathematics. It is like very core of any algorithm. I am fortunate that I have read almost like 3-year complete math in my undergraduate, and obviously I had like some best of best teachers. But this is very important. Like how do you like think about solving different problems mathematically? Machine learning, this is like new term. It's not new term, but it is like now integrated in the industry, where you are learning some new algorithm. For example, machine learning will say, tell me these 10 people that I know, which is like probably studying in ARSD, they're interested in say buying some shoes. Now tell me, if I show them say a gymnastic ad, will they buy this product or like buy the membership? So from your algorithm, take some input and then try to find this match. So this is where like there are multiple set of algorithm. I'm giving you very specific example where you don't write any code every time people are coming into your system. Your machine will learn and then start behaving. Deep learning, like okay fine, you have one user, probably there are multiple choices. He likes football, and then he likes something else, and then he likes something else, and he's friends with someone else. Like use all these algorithm and try to find out some sort of output for me. Data analysis. Now 2.5 billion users browsing internet like every second and generating huge ton of data. Now you have to find some sort of pattern, use your data analysis skill, and try to find some pattern. Okay, these are the activity that these people are using, and probably we should capture them. Probability, very important, especially when you are dealing with machine learning. What is the probability that this person will click on this ad? This becomes a very hot question. Okay, I'm seeing this ad, probably he will click on it or not. So there you need to learn the probability, and you are probably reading it, or probably you will read it. System architecture. Now the entire system has multiple moving pieces. Now you should just save your data in US or Canada or probably India or Singapore, and there are multiple restrictions. What if like some system, they're like very important problem with system architecture, and that I knew like probably a few years ago. They are setting up data center. Data center is like, they are big machines. They buy big land. The company buy big land, and then they set up their machines over there. And this is very costly. I was thinking like, why it is costly? Because this entire system is so heated, so warm, that they have to like run big air conditioners and all to just keep that system warm. So you have to like build your system in a way so that the electricity cost is low, and at the same time you are able to serve the data. Threat management, this is very important. Okay, fine, I have like a number of tasks that I can do and everything is important, but is it important for this project? For example, I say I have like learned about a very important algorithm, and probably I can, if I like spend some time, I can implement the algorithm in 2 weeks. But your customer wants everything to be delivered in 2 days. So do you really want to spend 2 weeks and lose a customer? Probably not. So that's the skill that you probably learn through your experience, and probably you have certain courses over there. This is what I have for today. Now I have like some time. Probably if people have some certain questions, I can help answer them.
Any questions, please? You can write in the chat box.
Okay, let me open the. And also like this is like very high level, like a 30,000 mile view of ad system. If you are interested in like learning about any specific topic, we can like discuss about that offline, probably some.
There is one question. Can I read it?
Yeah, sure, ma'am.
Yeah. This is from Himanshu. What can be done about the deal with surrogate advertisements?
What is surrogate advertisement? Probably like you can explain.
Himanshu, you can unmute yourself.
Or let me read about it meanwhile. Is it about like alcohol and all?
Himanshu, you can explain it.
Probably, yeah. This is like a form of advertisement where you are promoting the banned alcohol, banned product, for example, cigarette and alcohol. So yeah. So what happens, like if this is a surrogate advertisement that you are talking about, first, so here it comes about spam, malware, and like detecting the bad actor into the system. Certain places they allow selling of cigarettes or alcohol online, but certain places they are not. And what we do, like as an industry, what we do, we try to find out, like when we see an ad, we try to tag each and everything of this ad. For example, if you are showing me an image and which has like a liquor bottle in it, I'll try to find through my machine, or not machine, like image processing algorithm, this has a bottle which might be an alcohol. I'll try to flag that this ad is an alcohol ad, and then I try to find out the places where this ad can be banned or it is not allowed. Now, when people are coming to that from that part of it, I'll try to not to show those ads. But this is like very simple way of doing it. People like just bypass to it. They show some certain thing. When you click on it, and then it will go and show the surrogate ad. I mean, this is not an easy problem to solve. It is like it is saying it is become ethical in certain part of the world, but still not easy. One thing that I know, like Amazon is doing, I have like few friends, they try to like tag each and every product and then provide some API to different teams, even outside company as well. And there they can see this ad has what all products, what is their category. And when they are showing the ad, they can use these APIs. The other thing that people do, which is where the manual QA or manual testing comes into play, where I am not certain about something. Suppose I have seen an ad, I see a bottle, and then my image algorithm is saying, my image reduction algorithm is saying, this might be an alcohol, but I'm not sure. So what we'll do, we'll flag it, and then it will go to manual people, manual engineers, not engineers, manual QA quality assurance people. They literally see these ads and then manually tag them. This is alcohol, and then it needs 18 years of age, probably some taxes are allowed. They tag it and then send it back to the company, which can be used in the API. I mean, this is what I know about surrogate products, surrogate ads.
Thank you. Thank you, Pramod. Now, next question is from Gitanjali Kher. Are there ways to cost advertisers based on the cost of the product?
So this is what like we talked about cost of CPA, cost per action. So cost per action is like advertiser is saying, I want to bid on an ad based on the product. So if the way that you are saying that, okay, you can bid anything, and then when your product was sold, I will give you, I will charge you based on the product. That is like a two-way thing, which generally people don't want to share. And the other important part here is when an ad is shown, or just think in a way, I am an advertiser. I am selling say shoes, and I don't want to tell Facebook that after seeing your ad, how many product has been sold. I don't want to share this data with Facebook. First, this is my sales data. This is like very confidential data. Second, there is a trust issue as well. So suppose I am Nike and I tell Facebook, probably after seeing your ad, 1,000 people has bought this shoes. And what if Facebook tried to sell this data to Puma and Adidas? So there is a trust issue. But yeah, this is very much possible because Facebook is also capturing this thing somehow. But generally this does not happen. Like there are trust issue, sales issue.
Thank you. Thank you. Now the next question from Jagmohan is, how the ad industry relevant to small business as they have very limited budget?
Yeah, so that is the biggest, like that is the other problem. So we have a different section, we call it SMB, small medium business. And what we do, like when you have like different industry, you have different audiences as well. So what we try to capture your audience. And in terms of bidding as well, we try to see like when you're bidding, your audience will also see those ads. It is not always like that people who are bidding like higher, they will see the ad or they will win the ad. We'll try to come up with the say refreshment of the ad, place where it is being sold, and if it is SMB, probably we'll boost. We'll like when we as a company, when we show the ad, we'll rank them. When we rank, we have different parameters. So we'll put this parameter as well. Okay, this is the industry that probably wants more nurturing or more pampering. We'll boost them internally as well. But generally, this doesn't happen. The entire industry says that there are 2 billion people, and they are the number of advertisers are less. So you have certain audience that will try to find it for you.
Thank you. Now there is a question from Neeru Kapoor. What is the future of traditional advertising in comparison to digital advertising?
It is dying, frankly saying.
Yeah.
So for example,
right.
I'll tell you like TV advertisement. Like I have seen, like probably we would have seen all this TV advertisement. It is good. It is not targeted. So when like I was a kid, they are showing me like buy pension plan. I was watching TV. They're selling me ad buy pension plan because they don't know who is watching the TV. So they are like kind of wasting their money. On the other hand, online or digital advertisement, they are now capturing more and more user interest, user data, like demographics, and they are rightly capturing them. So yeah, the general advertisement is dying, but still it is like making a big share. So I was reading the digital advertisement probably per year is like $120 something billion, while the TV industry is still like $78 million. In US, there is like this flyer. They like put some ad on some paper and then give like throw it into your either put it into your mailbox or like give it at your home. It is still like 12 and $13 billion, but it is like dying because people are not using it.
Thank you, Pramod. Now the next question is from Ashutosh Jha. How to decide the investment cost of advertising?
That depends on there are multiple factors, and that's where the commerce people come into the picture. So it's not like every probably publisher will say, I'll show the best ad to you, and probably best people, right set of people, and they'll buy it. But at the end, you have to see your like budget or like your books. One example here is suppose you are selling shoes. Shoes is a bad example, like some beauty products. So beauty products, people buy beauty product. It is a big industry, but like I have to spend X amount of dollar, X amount of rupees, based on which Y amount of my product will be sold, and then it will have certain other costs like people costs, storage costs and all, and then take all this into account and then say, okay, what should be the apt amount of budget that I should be putting into the advertisement. And then again, there are multiple places. For example, Facebook is one thing, and then you don't want to come to Facebook only, you want to capture them in TV, radio and other places, then you have to like divide your budget there as well. And then somehow suddenly you figure it out that certain industry is not working at all. For example, if these days Facebook or Twitter, they are like earning a huge amount of money through ads, because people are like kind of stuck into their home and they are watching, like they are spending more time in online. So that kind of thing that you have to take into the account before deciding the budget probably. But frankly say, I'm not the right person to answer that, because I know less about like the commerce of the ad, but this is what my understanding is.
Thank you. Now the next question is from Nidhi Sharma. What is the future of advertising in print media in the vogue of social media?
It's dying actually. Print media is also dying. Nobody actually, like, just ask yourself like how many times you have actually read the newspaper or any like book or anything. And then after that, like you are seeing some ad. First thing that you do, you see any like any flyer, you just throw it out or don't look into it. And then you have this medium, mobile or tablet, which is on your hand. So rather than you spending time on print media, which is like newspaper, magazine or wherever, you spend like probably less than 1% or 2% of your time. 80% of your time is spent on mobile, not even web, mobile. So that's where people or advertisers want to target you. And again, when the audience is not targeted, like print media is not targeted as well. So there, this money spent is not properly utilized. So it is also like dying. If you see the trend, it is like going downwards and dying, slowly dying.
Pramod, the next question is from Dr. Manika Jain. Could you please suggest how relevant advertising remains when it has been observed that much of sales revenue depends on primarily on CX, customer experience?
Yeah, so customer experience is also very like important part of advertisement. For example, let me show you. Say if I have this is my. So my experience after seeing this page is okay, fine. Let me reload it. Okay, fine. This is like Disney sponsored ad, right? What is my experience? My experience is after seeing this ad, will I buy it? So that becomes my experience. Now experience is also coming to digital medium as well. For example, I worked on a product in Facebook where people coming to Facebook itself, like Amazon, Netflix, they're coming to Facebook itself and selling their stuff. For example, not Amazon, there's a site called, I forget the name. They are saying we'll bring our content to Facebook itself, and all your experience, like at least watching experience, it will be there. Other experience, for example, like buying certain stuff. For example, shirts. So there's a company, there are multiple company here, coming here. They're saying, see the ad and then try this shirt or shoes or specs on your laptop itself. Like how will you look like after seeing this ad, after wearing this shirt or pant or like this spec. So everything is like bringing online. So innovation is, there are a lot of innovation that is being done there, and people want to digitize your experience. And after this COVID-19, probably it will also change, because the external experience probably it'll take some time to like recover.
Yeah, thank you, Pramod. This is another question from Vinod Savant. Advertisement uses artificial intelligence concept.
Yes, a lot. AI is like probably bread and butter of any big tech company. Probably I've not covered there. Like it is a very important part of, like, AI is like very, 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 very important. It is being used everywhere.
Thank you, Pramod. There is one question from Dr. Poonam Singh. Are there any categories or measuring scale for studying dialogues and taglines of television advertisements?
Yeah, so that is like it is being done. Like if you see, probably I don't know in the US, in India, US, what has been done. So there's like a transcribed, like there are multiple software. So like when a game is going on and like the commentator, they are doing their commentary. So like on the flight, probably with a delay of 2-3 seconds, they are like 80 with the 80% accuracy. They are like capturing whatever they are saying and then printing it on the TV. So that is part of I don't know if it is part of ad, but they are like trying to capture everything. Second, probably if you heard of Alexa or any other like Google Assistant, or like you have Siri on your phone or Google Assistant, they are trying to capture everything that you are saying, transcribing it, storing it. Till now they are saying they're not using it, but yeah, it can be used. Like one important thing that is being used here, if you like offline industry, offline is like when you go to a store, like physical store, for example, you have to go Big Bazaar or like here Walmart or some other store, you buy something, but that activity is not being captured because you don't know like which aisle you are going, which product you are touching. There's an important innovation that is happening here. They install like certain devices on the in house, like in these stores, and the moment you go there, it's mostly like it's internet, and they said when you say that they are providing free internet and then you are trying to connect to the free internet. So what they are using, they are capturing your like movement within the office, this space, and which aisle you are going, which place you are going, and then touching a product. They are capturing everything and then using it into the ad. There is one more thing that few store that Amazon has opened, where you buy a card, just a card, and put it into your pocket, and then go to store, like from after that go to any store, like today, tomorrow, just go to the store, pick up some item and just get out of the store. They'll know which product that you have like picked up. They charge your credit card that amount of money without you knowing, without you bothering. So they are like using it, even text, speech, movement.
Thank you. Now the next question, Pramod, is from Megha Arora. What about the post-COVID trend of advertising?
So what is happening, like frankly speaking, like the question that Jagmohan has asked, like about SMB. So advertisement increased because people are using online business a lot, but a big chunk of advertisement, like the people, the Facebook, that is Facebook, Facebook is earning money. It comes from the marketing budget of smaller companies or other companies. But these other companies, they are not able to sell their stuff, their product. So they are dying. Probably you are hearing multiple companies are laying off or they are shutting down their business. So their business is getting impacted, and which in turn impacting these big companies' advertisement revenue. So in a short term, or probably like my expectation is like for rest of the year, the advertisement budget will go very down. But then again, it's like part of business. This thing, people will earn money, and being a capitalist approach, they'll start spending more time in marketing and sales, and then this will again come. But yeah, but there will be an impact for next few years. And I've seen here like multiple companies. You name a company and they are like saying we are like going negative. Our books are going negative, and we are not able to sustain. So obviously they'll not spend money on marketing and sales. So there'll definitely be a negative impact.
Next question is from Ankit. Is the working of the bidding algorithms varies country-wise?
But yeah, bidding is not like one parameter which is like money. It has like multiple parameters. I'll tell you, like I used to work with Microsoft Bing. It used to call Bing Ads, but now they changed, I guess, Ad Center or something like that. So what they used to do, like people used to bid on certain keyword, and then based on the keyword, we used to show the ad. And their algorithm, when I joined the team, it was like very naive. Probably like we are in the very early stage. There's a company called, I guess, Bollywood Masala or something like that. There's a company or there's a website. They used to bid on each and every keyword. You like search shoes, and then they'll show you, okay, Kareena Kapoor is getting married. Probably the bidding algorithm is so naive that it is only taking the money into the account, not the relevance. So yeah, country is one factor. then the relevance of your page. For example, you are showing an ad of, suppose you are a shoe company and you are bidding, your keyword you are bidding on, say, phone. So now the algorithm is so sophisticated, they'll try, go to your page, try to find out the intent of your page. Okay, this page is not a phone, this is a shoe. And when you're bidding on phone, they, even if you're bidding like so high, they'll try to ding your rate ranking. They'll say, okay, the ad that you are showing, about to show, is not like relevant, and not the user experience will be bad. They'll ding you. So yeah, bidding, it takes country and very other factors into the account. And mind it, it should be done within like 100 millisecond or probably 200 millisecond in some part of our world.
To promote, there is another question by Dr. Poonam Singh. Are there any categories or measuring scale defined for studying dialogues and taglines of television advertisements?
That probably I didn't know. Can you paste this question? Probably I can like try to find the answer of this question. Probably I don't know.
We'll paste it. Next question is from Karan Gupta. What's your take on subliminal advertising?
What is subliminal actually?
I don't know.
I don't know actually. Yeah. When this industry is so big, let me see. Subliminal.
We'll go to the next question. I'll send you this question then.
Okay.
Fine. Next question from Renu. How online marketing companies ensure data privacy and data protection of its customers?
This is the huge debate that like goes like what, like I tell you from the perspective of Facebook and Microsoft, what we try to do, what we claim that we are trying to do, we are claiming that we are not selling your stuff. We are anonymizing your data. For example, if you are on Facebook, you are browsing something, we are ensuring that this data will remain within the Facebook and it will not be sold to anyone. It will not be shared with anyone. This is what each and every company is doing. Yeah, something happened like in 2008 or 9 or whatever, 2011 it happened, like somehow some company gained the access of Facebook user data and they try to show them political ads and try to sway the election. That happened like in multiple countries. But from the company perspective, we try to do each and everything to ensure that your data is not being sold. Why the like people say Facebook is selling the data, but the downside of that, if people find out and they lose the trust, they will never come back to Facebook or some other platform. If Facebook come up with a feature, it is called, I don't know why my system is hang on. It is called off Facebook activity. So now they are giving an option to people, user, if they don't trust on Facebook, you can search off Facebook activity. You can come on Facebook and you can first delete the entire data that you have, that Facebook has stored about you. Second, you can say, okay, fine, I am deleting my historical data. I also don't want Facebook to track me anything anywhere. So that is a tool that these companies are providing to users. If you feel that your data is being misused, go ahead, delete your historical data and don't let these companies store your data. So company try to do not to sell data, but again, this is a computer science. It is not like a perfect science. We make certain mistakes and then somehow the data got leaked, and that's how like we got screwed.
Pramod, should we take the last question, because there are many questions, so it's better we tell them to put it on the Facebook or YouTube. Is it fine?
Yeah,
because it's midnight there.
I am fine with. So it's 11:40. I have 2 more minutes, and then possibly I can. Yeah, we can.
Okay, should we take the last question then? And the
yes, sure, ma'am.
Yeah. It's by Shalini Gupta. How can we measure the effects of advertisements other than sale and profit earning?
Yeah. So what happens? Like I told you, like this company, the publishers, what they do. Yeah. So what publisher do? They provide some sort of reporting. So reporting, or like one step back. So advertisement is not about like purchasing on sales. Advertisement is about anything. For example, an app. For example, I have an app, any app, say some game app. I want people to download my app. So what I'll show ad so that people can download the app. So now the onus is on the the publisher to show me a report how many downloads have happened. On the other hand, for example, I have run a campaign. I have a friend who his baby like had certain problem, so I ran a campaign to donate money so that we can help him financially to get his kid like get medical facility and all. So at the end, they give me an entire report like how many people has seen your ad, and out of those people, how many people actually donated the money, and what is the amount of money that is being donated. So there are different set of things that company do, publisher do, but you cannot trust on publisher. For example, an advertiser, I am an advertiser, I want to sell a Nike shoes. I will not go to Facebook. I'll go to every damn like platform. I'll go to Facebook, Google, Twitter, and everywhere. And then at the end, as a user, the user will also go to Facebook to watch like feed, Twitter to see the tweet, Google to search something, and at the end possibly he purchased something. Now everybody, like every party, Google will also start claiming this user has purchased something because he has seen ad on my platform. Facebook will also claim it, and then Twitter will also claim it. So either these advertiser, they himself, or there's an entire big industry that they come in between advertiser and the publisher. They also have their own reporting platform, and they provide, okay, this user last visited on Google and then purchased something. This user was visiting Facebook from past 3 days and seeing your ad and clicking on this ad, and that's how he purchased something. So that is also or purchase, or like probably like download the app, or like sign up something. For example, if you see this ad, my mouse, my probably system is hung. If you see this ad is showing start your free trial and subscribe. So Facebook will provide to Disney how many people has seen the ad, click on the ad, and then click on the subscribe button and fill the detail in the sense credit card. So this is a different kind of reporting that these publishers do. Disney, on the other hand, will have either their own in-house system, reporting system, or they have like some third party which is also measuring the impact of their like ad, their campaign impact.
Pramod, last question I'll take from the Facebook, because there are many questions there. So one question I'll take. This is from Gitanjali Kher. Are there also ways of costing advertisers based on cost of the product sold?
No, this is like, I answered this. There's a mechanism, but you cannot do it. Why? I told you, like, because suppose I am selling a shoes, I ran my ad on Twitter, Google, and Facebook, all 3 platforms. A user went to all these platforms and then eventually purchased the shoes. So everyone start claiming that this user came to my Facebook or Twitter or Google and purchased the shoes. So that is why now you should give the money to me, because this user, I send this user to your website. That seems a bit unethical, illogical, and also not correct algorithmically as well. On the other hand, the Disney or Nike, they also don't want to share the data. Okay, fine, this user came to my site and purchased something. That's where this data privacy come into the picture. Now think from the user perspective. Now user will say, okay, first I am coming to your website, you are tracking me, you are giving this information to Facebook. I am going to Facebook, Facebook is tracking me and then showing me an ad. Then I am going again back to your website and then purchasing it. And then you are sharing the detail about me that, hey, Pramod has went to this site, purchased something, and then now like give me the money for his purchase. That becomes a very risky, mostly illegal or unlawful and unethical thing. It is possible, but generally it doesn't happen.
Thank you, Pramod. There are many questions. So there is a request to all participants that they can put their questions in Facebook Live or YouTube channel. And
okay.
Pramod can answer them at the convenient time. Is it fine?
That is like absolutely fine.
Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Pramod Negi, for this informative, enlightening, insightful session that we've had with you. And hopefully all of us will be able to make the most of this session. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Pramod.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And thank you again for like attending this talk.
Thank you, sir. Pramod, sir. Thank you very much. You took out time at midnight. And we would say good night to you
Yeah.
as it's
Yeah.
there
Yeah,
midnight in
and
yours.
yeah, and good day and have safe. Like stay inside and stay safe, stay healthy.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Thank